All right, it is 3 days later, and I'm back on my plan to circumnavigate Jeju Island on foot. Last episode, if you want the setup, I had this idea as I realized that there's a coastal trail that goes all the way around Jeju Island. And Jeju, it's an island just off South Korea. It's its own little thing, but it's also part of South Korea. It's like self-governed and part of South Korea at the same time. So it's a domestic flight, and it's not that big. It's 200 kilometers all the way around, with a big volcano in the middle. Beautiful seaside stuff. Like, the seaside is just gorgeous. And I noticed on Google Maps, the little dotted line, I think it's called the Olle Trail, goes all the way around the whole freaking island. So I started pontificating about, like, can I do that? Can I just walk around the entire island? So I discovered some stuff about that, but I'll get into that in a bit. Basically, I ended off last time at Namwon-Soesokkak, which is only about 6 kilometers east of Seogwipo. Pretty small amount, but I kind of figure that's more or less probably the plan. You know, I'll just walk till I get tired of walking and then bail out. Maybe a little more than that, but who knows? We'll see. So I started from there again, crossed over the bridge. It's like this river that cuts up into the island that's down in a pretty deep gorge. I crossed over that bridge, and then I actually, for the first time, the seaside path has been extremely easy to follow so far. The little bit that I've been both east and west of Seogwipo, tons of signage and ribbons and arrows. I never got even slightly lost ever. In this case, I had a bit of a tough time finding the trail because I was up on the highway. And I tried going down one road toward the shore, and it was a dead end, so I went to the next one. But basically, that's the other nice thing about this, is in the event that I do lose the scent a little bit, I just walked along the highway a little and then just reached a point where I was just close enough to the shore that just between some buildings, I could just see the ocean. I'm like, oh, cool, there it is, all right. Just walked down to the shoreline, and immediately I saw the ribbons again. So I'm not quite sure where I was supposed to get back on. But yeah, that's the beauty of this too. Since this trail is right by the coast the whole way, the coast itself is the backup plan. Even though it's pretty well signposted, you really can't miss the ocean. If I do get lost a little bit, it's easy enough to just walk to the next point and find the ocean. Right now, I'm supposed to be up on the road, but I'm on actual rocks down on the shore. And it's cool, although it's tricky. It's very slow going. But yeah, all the shoreline here, at least on the southern shore, it's all rocks. It's not, there's no sand. But here it's especially, it's like, these are for sure big volcanic rocks. They look like big pieces of charcoal. Big pieces of activated charcoal. Oh, and there's somebody gathering something from the seaside. But there's some steps back up to the road. So I'm gonna go up to the road and not interrupt the person who is gathering things. So yeah, first up, the reason it's 3 days later is the very next day I was feeling like, because I was thinking my plan would be to take a bus, though I've never taken a bus on Jeju. Just these little things that are not a big deal, but seem tougher when you're just traveling by yourself and you're not with anyone else. I'll get into the bus thing later. But the idea was just to take a bus back to here. But my last journey had been on a Friday, and I had a really hard time falling asleep that night. I was actually up until, I started seeing the sun rising outside. It was 5:30 in the morning, and I was like, uh-oh, whoops, I fucked up. Go to bed immediately. So I didn't get a ton of sleep, and then Saturday's the day that I phoned home, so I got to get home early anyway. Those things combined is okay, take this off, and it's the weekend, It seems like the shoreline, it's not going to be extremely busy no matter what. There's little bits that are more touristy, but even just buses and stuff. The weekend's just not the right time to do anything. The weekend sucks. So lots of reasons to take the Saturday off. But then why I took Sunday off, man, So when I very first got to this hotel on Jeju, one of the first things I noticed was it all seemed pretty nice, although there were some dead bugs, like 3 splattered bugs on the walls of my hotel that I had to clean off. I was like, I mean, it is I booked it because it's the cheapest one. There's a shit ton of hotels around here, and I think I'm in the cheapest one. So it's like, hey, that's what you get. Other than that, it's been actually very nice. But also that kind of planted that in my mind. Like, what does that mean that there's bugs? And it's actually strange because like there's no bugs bothering me right now. I really never notice insects that much at all outside. Maybe it's because when I'm by the shore, it's a bit breezy. I don't know. But I just figured, hey, it's a tropical island in a warm part of the world. It's just Bugsville. It's just what it is. But then I had my experience with the bugs where that Saturday, I also had a similarly hard time falling asleep. And I was like, shit, I fucked up again. I did the same thing. It's 5:30 in the morning. The sun's coming up. Go to bed. Time to go to bed immediately. But then I went to go to bed and that's when I realized there were mosquitoes in my room somehow. I mean, there's a bug screen on the window, so I didn't know how that happened. But man, one thing with mosquitoes, because I always sleep with headphones in. I sleep with headphones in and I just put, at a relatively low level, but I just put a looping MP3 of rain noise. Or I've got a shore one too, somewhat like this real shore, but I usually do the rain one. And I just let it play. And I find it does a good job of, if there's somebody talking in the room next to you, or if there's traffic and noise outside, it does a really good job of blending that kind of stuff. So it's not that you don't hear it, but I don't know, my subconscious just takes it all as one thing instead of it hearing some kind of sound that's keeping it up. Instead, it's like I'm hearing the rain, and within the rain, there's X sound or Y sound, and it really does help a lot. But it's funny because even at the airport and stuff, it can be some fairly severe circumstances, and I'm surprised how much the little rain sound MP3 helps. But mosquitoes, man, it is fucking crazy how loud a mosquito is in the absence of other noise. Because I was laying there with my little rain sounds playing, and then I heard it's like, what the fuck? How is a mosquito that loud? But when it's buzzing right by your ear, it's just incredibly loud. Whatever those little fuckers are doing to stay aloft, it is breaking the fucking... It's like that idea that through the laws of physics, bees shouldn't be able to fly, or all that shit that is not true. But that's how it feels, of just they're basically breaking reality in order to fly. They're expending so much energy that it is wildly loud. Oh, here's a sign, Olle 5. So yeah, it was Olle 7 over by where I was. So I don't know when the numbers change or how often they change. I'll have to look into that a little. I don't know what that means exactly. I don't suppose Olle 5 has a washroom, whatever it is. That would be nice. I don't see one. So yeah, I was like, shit, what's going on? How did a mosquito get in here? And I was just maybe I could sleep through this, but then I quickly realized it wasn't just one mosquito. Somehow there was a bunch of mosquitoes in my room. And what I eventually noticed is that my window with the bug screen, the other side of the window isn't secured. It can also slide open, and it just slides open, openly to the outside. And it was. I don't know when that happened or how long it has been open, but long enough for 7 or 8 mosquitoes to get into my room. I was like, oh shit, how did I not notice this till just now that I'm trying to go to bed? I guess maybe they were hiding away when I was awake. But way too many mosquitoes. It's like, I can't sleep through this, not just from the buzzing, but then they're gonna bite me. They're gonna steal my blood. So I was already pretty exhausted, overtired from staying up too late. And that's when I realized, fuck, mosquitoes, they're really hard to kill. I was just trying to get them, and I just couldn't. I managed to slap one right out of the air, clap my hands together, like some Mr. Miyagi shit. And I got one of them, but that was it. They would land on the walls, and I grabbed like a piece of toilet paper and tried to like use it to smush them, but they always flew way too fast, and I was getting quickly frustrated as well because I was so tired. I was like, damn, I can't get these things. They're too fast. Maybe I got to go to Daiso and, you know, buy a fucking fly swatter, but I can't do that till tomorrow, you know, not at fucking 6 in the morning. There's some arrows pointing me away. So this is good too. Like there is a trail that keeps going along the shoreline here, but this is, like I was saying, extra volcanic and super rough. And there's an arrow saying, no, 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 go up to the street. Thank you, arrow, I will. But yeah, I guess what I figured out, what I realized is if I took one of my old t-shirts out of my laundry and folded it in half, I could make a whip. Hutcha! Ka-chow! And luckily I don't think there is anyone in the rooms next to me right now. I haven't heard anyone in a couple of days. Because talking about noise, man, the speed that you need to whip your shirt at to hit a mosquito who's chilling on the wall before it can fly away is very loud. And I just fucking stalked around. It's like, okay, I'm up, turn on all the lights, stalk around with my t-shirt, whack, whack, making noise. But eventually I got most of them. One of them went into the bathroom and I lost track of it, but I closed the door. And it's just like, I'll get you later, asshole. And I did. I closed that door, and then the next day when I woke up, I stalked my way in there and found him. But there was still one more in the room that I just couldn't find. He stopped flying around and I lost track of him. And I did eventually get him the next day, but I did eventually just like I gave up. But also at that point, like I'd been up with all the lights on, stalking around, doing stuff, and also filled with fucking anger and crazy annoyance at these goddamn mosquitoes. Like when I'm at my lowest emotional ebb because I'm so tired and I just wanted to go to bed, and then I had to deal with this. I was just filled with frustration hormones. Basically, I was just like, I can't go to bed now, fuck. So I just did some other stuff, and I was up till like 11:30. It was just awful, like 11:30 in the morning. And then I woke up around 2 in the afternoon and just could not fall back asleep for the life of me. But I still had that feeling. I was just imagining where I left off on this journey and like, oh, I want to go across that bridge. I want to see what's next. I want to keep going. I briefly considered it, despite the fact that I just had like zero fucking sleep. But after an hour of being awake, I was like, there's no fucking way. I am fucked. And that was a weird day. Man, what a miserable day. I just couldn't fall back asleep and just fought my way through it. And just like, oh man, total zombie. But I did eventually get that last mosquito, and there's none now. Now it's mosquito free. But yeah, those bug smears on my wall, I mean, they were kind of bad because the actual bug corpses were still there. It was clear nobody cleaned them at all. In my case, I did clear off all the mosquitoes, but the smear of bug guts and occasional blood, if one of them had gotten me already, that stuff just isn't coming off. It's like these bumpy stucco kind of walls. And yeah, it's just like I cannot, with what I've got, just, you know, getting my t-shirt a little damp or using toilet paper or whatever, I cannot get this shit off. Maybe I'll go to Daiso and buy myself like a big sponge before I leave to get all this stuff off so I don't leave it for the next person. But it's like, yeah, shit. This is not easy to clean up, but also very gross with the t-shirt. You know, I mean, my laundry is like super sweaty clothes anyway. It's not like it's nice, but it's still just sweaty clothes, where now, oh man, like that shirt, I had to ball that up extra good and put it way at the bottom and just like make sure I never touch that again till I've done laundry, because now it's covered in bug guts and gross shit. It's like, oh, fuck. Anyway, that was unexpected. And not my favorite day of all time. I'm a little further on down the road now. There's a sign here that says, Base Camp, the Black. And I guess it's for a restaurant, because they're showing, although it's raw meat they're showing. But so I guess Base Camp is a restaurant, or maybe the Black is the restaurant. I don't know, that's just funny. The Black. I think I brought that up before, but you see that a lot more in Japan, where they just put the in front of things to make it seem amazing. The coffee, or the latte, or whatever. The Black. But you do still see it sometimes in South Korea. I thought I was at a big river, but I couldn't find its name on the map. And then I think it's just an inlet. It's not actually a river. But there's this huge bridge that I'm walking up now with no people on it. But now that I look, I see that there's like this walk out to a lighthouse. And I thought it was just one of those, like, yeah, you just go out to see the view from the lighthouse and you got to walk back. But I think in this case, actually, I could have kept going. I think there's a seawall over there. But I missed that, so I'm on the bridge, but this is cool too. Yeah, you just get the ocean on one side. Now as I'm rising up a bit over the buildings, because the buildings are not especially tall here on Jeju. And the volcano is especially tall, because it's 2,000 meters. There it is. Mount Halasan on one side, ocean on the other. Pretty fucking nice. My only kind of concern with this route, really, at this point, is washrooms. I haven't seen a single washroom yet on this leg of the journey. And I'll get into the scatological details, but that's a bit of a concern today especially. But other than that, this all seems pretty great. But yeah, what I figured out is on that dreaded Sunday, aka yesterday, when I was just completely whacked out and super tired and couldn't sleep, I did do some bus research. I'm like, all right, well, let's at least figure this out. Because so my initial idea, like it's funny, as I was just formulating this plan, you can hear it in real time last episode, but I was way overthinking it because I was just like, just exploring in general. Like, oh, I can walk along the shore this way and I can walk along the shore that way. And then I saw that the dotted line just kept going and going and going and looped all the way. So I was like, whoa, you could go around the island? So my initial thoughts were, wow, you could set up hotels all along, all around the edge, and just keep walking around the island, around the island, around the island. Though that was, again, just adding stress, unnecessary stress to the plan of like, yeah, but then you'd have to plan things out early and, get to the next one in time, yada, yada. And then I was thinking like, oh yeah, and I'd have to carry all my stuff with me. That occurred to me of like, oh, I'd have to put all my stuff in my book bag. And like right now I'm just walking with my little day bag. And the sky's pretty clear today, but there was possible overcastedness. So I've got my weather-resistant jacket with an umbrella in it just in case, but that seems unnecessary. It's actually super humid. I'm sweating my dick off. But it's nice. Just nice walking, where if I had to carry my big heavy book bag, not nice walking, not fun, no longer a joy. But I was also kind of thinking like, Jeju seems small, I don't know, but it's just hard to gauge that type of thing. Where I noticed even when I only went, 6 or 7 kilometers each way, I could see my little dot on Google Maps seemed like it had actually gone an appreciable distance, at least 1% of the way with that's just little afternoon of walking. Like that's not even a long walk. So it seemed like a pretty small island, but on the other hand, it's an island. I don't know. And it's like, it's hard to gauge mega structures or things like that, I don't know, but then I looked up the actual numbers and it actually is small. 30 kilometers from top to bottom, 73 or 4 from east to west, 200 all the way around. It's like, yeah, that is actually pretty small. That's not a big deal. So on Jeju, there is no subway or no trains. It's all buses, and I hadn't taken any buses. I had taken one bus one time in Jecheon when I was there. So I at least had some sense of how the buses work, but it's one of those things that like, yeah, it's certainly no big deal to take a bus. It's like, hey, whatever, dude, just take the bus. But it is funny, like I find traveling by yourself, it does make little things, anything that could potentially be a little sticky or is a potential area of social friction or possible embarrassment, it's just so easy to put off. Like, I think it's not even close to 50-50 of like, oh, 50% I could just do it and it's not a big deal. 50% it's a little uncomfortable. It only has to be, it could be 90-10. It could be 95-5, you know? If it's 95% not a big deal and 5% uncomfortable, that's more than uncomfortable enough just to not do it, just to put it off, you know? Just to avoid stuff if you can avoid it, is what I find. And yeah, that's another thing when you're traveling with people, it's just like, you wouldn't hesitate. There's no way two people would both come to this neurotic decision together. Oh, let's not figure out how the bus works. You know, you would not at all. You'd just do it. And then if anything was a little tricky, you'd just figure it out together. Where I find that's one thing I like traveling by myself. I like being on my own itinerary and I can just do weird shit like this, for example. But it does make it a lot tougher, I find, to do many things, you know. I'm not just going to go to a restaurant and kind of fight my way through the menu. I'm just not going to, anything that I don't have to do, I'm just not going to do it. And the bus is the perfect example. The subway is so easy. You just go scan on a card. You never have to deal with a person. It's so anonymous and so simple. Where the bus, you know, especially now that I've taken the bus today and I now know how the bus works, yeah, it's not a big deal. But, for example, well, even taking the bus from the airport, you know, I scanned my card and tried to get on, and the guy stopped me, and I didn't understand what the problem was. And he didn't speak any English, and he had to point to a sign that showed the different stops. And I remember deep in my memory banks, oh yeah, I did hear that somewhere. That you have to tell him what stop you're going to so he knows how much to charge you. And the stop that my Airbnb thing said to get off at didn't exist. They called it something else, but I found the closest one. You know, they called it Seogwipo something, Bay or something, and the closest I could find was Seogwipo Harbor. That was what they meant, but it was the wrong name. But I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess this. But that, for example, is how the airport shuttle works. I presume maybe because people are paying in cash more. Maybe people coming from the airport don't necessarily have the little T-money card that you use to take transit. So they got to charge you up front for how far you're going. Whereas with the bus, you do scan the little card to get on. But then I was wondering, do I have to scan when I get off? Because there's a base fare, which is crazy cheap. It's like $1.50. But I did see that depending on distance, it could go up. Or that for 40 minutes you can transfer up to 2 times. But do you need to scan yourself out? Because I definitely did not scan myself out in Jecheon, and I don't know if maybe I was supposed to and I didn't realize, or maybe Jecheon's small enough that there is no other zone, maybe everything is a flat fare. And then I was thinking back to Vancouver, when Vancouver first rolled out their little transit cards. They have 3 different zones in Vancouver, and if you go into different zones on the subway, it costs more. So initially they did the zones on the bus as well, but people had to scan out of the bus, and they weren't doing it, they were forgetting to. So the bus thought they had stayed on the bus all day and charged them the maximum possible fare. When realistically, you know, if you're going those distances, you're probably not going on the bus. So very few people were legitimately in the position to be charged these extra fees, but a bunch of people were getting charged them by accident. So to the Vancouver Transit Authority's credit, they just gave up on that one. They just made bus fare one amount for anywhere that you go, so you didn't have to tap your card as you left the bus. But that's just an example of just like, I just don't know. I don't know if I have to or not. And it's just that little stress of like, oh, geez, now if I get on the bus, I could watch people and see if anyone gets off the bus before me, which no one did, so that wouldn't have worked today. But luckily I found a YouTube video about taking transit on Jeju, and it's funny because even the lady on the video admitted as they were doing it, she was taking one from the airport, and she's like, you know what, I'll be honest with you, I've never actually done this. I've lived on Jeju for years and I've never taken a bus, so we're gonna do it together. But at the end of her 10-minute video, she mentioned, make sure you tap your card on the way out. So I was like, finally, okay, finally I've learned I do need to do this. So again, none of this is a big deal. Again, I could ask the guy, I could just go and figure it out as I went. But it's definitely an opportunity for just awkwardness and unpleasantness, and I'm holding up the bus and I feel ashamed that I don't know what's going on. And even if it's only 5% of me that is worried about that, that to me is way more than enough to just not do it. You know? So again, I don't know if anybody else, if this seems overly neurotic, if anyone really identifies with this, but there's just little things are so much harder to do, I find, because you just want to avoid friction. And these systems are just, there's so many variables. Something as easy as taking the bus is not obvious when you haven't done it yet. I mean, even the subway is a little weird, but it's a lot less weird. And in that case, you're just dealing with a turnstile. You're not dealing with a person and a bus full of people that you're actively embarrassing yourself in front of. Back by the shore again. Man, it's gorgeous. It is beautiful. But anyway, so I found that video. I had that all figured out. I'm like, okay, I think I get this. I think it's okay. Should be no problem. But now the question is, now what bus? How do the buses work? I had theorized just by looking around with my peepers that there were 3 types of buses, and I was exactly right. The red bus is airport type shuttles that go to hotels and things. The blue bus is the one I got on today that is just basically from neighborhood to neighborhood, city to city, goes all around, you know, relatively major routes. And the little green buses are the ones that just durdle into tiny neighborhoods. And I don't know how many routes there are, but they said there was something like 800 some buses going around the island. There's a lot of buses. I'm just passing a little putting green. But yeah, apparently they revamped this whole system in the recent past to have these different colors and to make it easier for tourists and easier to follow and reduce the price. Like $1.50 is crazy cheap to take the bus. But yeah, despite that, you know, it's not complicated, but still just nothing can just be known. You know, you have to learn things. You got to do it the hard way the first time. And then even if it's a simple process, you know, you still can't just know how it works. But I felt pretty confident, like, okay, now I think I do know how it works. This should be no problem. Now the one unfortunate thing is I would always refill my T-Money cards in the subway stations, but there are not refill machines here or in Jecheon. They're only in big cities that have metros. So at some point I'm going to have to get money out of an ATM and then go into a convenience store and ask the person to recharge my card. Again, probably no problem, but I would rather do it through a machine if I could, but no dice here, unfortunately. But yeah, now the question was, which bus do I take? So I've been using Google Maps just because I wanted the offline map. I don't have a data plan. I'm usually offline. So I'd heard that Google Maps was not the best option for South Korea, but I've been using it the whole time because I just want the offline map. And it hasn't really mattered too much. You know, I went everywhere basically on foot in Jecheon, although in hindsight, maybe I should have explored the buses more. If I ever go back, I will. To get out of the city center, I probably could have seen some more stuff that would have been cool. But in the bigger cities, in Busan and in Seoul, just having the subway map was fine. It's so nice how, South Korea, I mean, Asia in general, I've found between South Korea and Japan, very good for transit, very easy to travel everywhere. I'm pretty confident no matter where I go that it's not going to be that tough. But South Korea is especially easy. It's definitely easier than Japan even. And like, despite Seoul being enormous and the subway being crazy huge, I never had problems where I definitely did in Tokyo. I mean, it happened on this podcast several times. And I had major problems in New York. I fucking hate the New York subway. Just chalk that up to another thing about New York I don't like. so fucking complicated and so confusing, and not, like, you can't just connect the dots and expect it to all work. Maybe it'll work. Maybe you're there at the wrong time of day. Maybe things have been rerouted. Maybe it just never fucking worked in the first place. It fucking sucks. And soul's just not like that. You know, you just connect the dots. You just go from here to here to here, and this goes to this, and this goes to that, and it always works. And Busan was smaller, but the same thing. So I was okay with Google Maps, but for buses, I'd always heard Naver Maps and Kakao Maps are the things. But I briefly looked into them, and you need to be online to use them. And, you know, you can set them to English, but quote-unquote English. It's still not quite, I wouldn't quite call it English. But it's close enough. Because I got on Naver Maps and figured out how to check buses. And I was like, all right, from where I was yesterday, back to my hotel, what bus, pray tell? If I were to take a bus, which bus would I want? And it said, you want the 201 bus. It doesn't go all the way to my hotel, but it's only a 20-minute walk from my hotel. And then it goes along the highway, right along where I walked home last episode. And I was like, cool, all right. So now, say I was to go further, and I just picked a point further along the coast. Let's say I have a good day and I make it all the way up here. Then what bus would I want to take? And it said, you will take the 201 bus. I was like, what is the route of the 201 bus? And it is fucking perfect. It goes along the entire coastline, all the way around the island, all the way up to Jeju City. And if you want to go on the west coast, it's the 202 bus. And that's it, you know. That was one thing, as much as, I started off with the, what if you set up hotels the whole way? And what if you took your luggage? And what if you did it like some kind of epic journey? And I kept breaking this down more and more of like, okay, what if you don't do that? What if you just take buses? But I thought I still might need to try to find Wi-Fi somewhere and figure out which tangle of buses I might need to take to get back home. You know, I thought it would still be, that's why I didn't want to push it last episode. I didn't want my first experience on the bus to be at night and possibly having to transfer and blah, blah, blah. Because, when I was looking up like how to get up to Mount Halasan, since there's not a good approach from the south of the island, there was quite a bit of talk of transfers in that case, if you don't start from Jeju City. But for this idea of walking along the coastline, I don't have to worry about any of that. I literally only need to know the 201 and the 202. And that's it. Anytime I want to bail out of this walk, I just go over to the highway, which is never that far from the coastline, and I just find the bus stop for 201 and I just take it home. And then when I want to come back and continue the journey, I just go to that stop 20 minutes from my hotel, and I just get on the 201 and I go back to wherever I was. And it's like, holy fuck. It was almost disappointing in a weird way, because none of the stuff I do is like a true adventure, you know? And it's like, oh no, I got lost on the mountain and I'm in a golf course. Or I got lost on the mountain and I'm in a construction site. You know, I guess I get lost sometimes. But I'm never that far from society. It's never really dangerous. The stuff I do is like easy. It's not hard. Even just like going up Mount Halasan here, which is also easy and not hard. Just long, just a 9-hour trek. I'm like, I don't think so. That's too long. Everything I do is easy. But this one, I guess because I built it up so much in my mind of like, what a crazy idea. Could I walk all the way around? Whoa. How would I carry all my stuff? How would I arrange the logistics of setting up hotels? Whoa. I was overthinking it. I had blown it up in my mind because I just came up with the idea. I didn't understand all the parameters yet. And now that I've actually figured it out, it is so much easier than that. It is crazy. This is trivially easy. It is so easy. So I was almost a little disappointed in a way that I was like, damn, this really is going to be easy. I was saying how, it's best not to do stuff. Just do stuff because you want to do it, because you want to have the experience. Don't do stuff to hope someone else will be impressed, because they're not going to be that impressed. You could go to fucking Mars, and no one's actually going to care for more than a couple minutes at a fucking, over a martini at a mixer. It's like, oh, you went to Mars? Cool, man. What was that like? No one actually cares what you do. So no one was going to care if I circumnavigate this fucking island. So doing it continuously in one unbroken loop, certainly not necessary. splitting it up into days, yeah, okay. But then, yeah, just like realizing it's just this one bus line and it's so easy. I was like, yeah, this is nothing as far as, earning an achievement or whatever. But that's fine, because again, I had to remind myself, like, nothing I do is impressive in that way. And even if it was, no one would care. And yeah, I mean, it's actually a great thing that this is this easy. I need things to be easy. There's no reason to want them to be harder. Because yeah, like right now, perfect, amazing, beautiful. The coastline, the rocks, the gorgeousness. It's gorge, man, it's fully gorge. The good part of this plan, the actual part of this plan, the actually doing it part, I mean, the coast is going to be the beautiful coast. Nothing's going to change that. And why I think it's extra good that this actually is easy, why it's like I should not look a gift horse in the mouth, I should be very pleased that it's easy, is, like I was saying before, so I had to take a couple of days off because my crazy insomnia then smashed up against a mosquito war raid, and I just really fucked my sleep schedule, and it was ludicrous. So today I was like, there we go. Now I'm, quote unquote back to normal. I went to bed at 3:30 in the morning, woke up around noon. There you go. That's how it's supposed to be. That's better. But then I went down to the kitchen of the hotel I'm at, got a little packet of free noodles, took my Tupperware container of kimchi, which I did actually find some saran wrap to put on top, because yeah, like a Tupperware, it's just no match for the powerful smell of kimchi. It really was not containing it, so I took measures to help contain the power of kimchi. But I had that, then I had a big energy bar, got all set, because I guess I was thinking about like, farmers and stuff who have a huge breakfast so they can fuel up for the day. But now I'm thinking, is that actually the best method? Is it actually a good idea to super duper pack yourself full of food before you go on a hike? It seems logical, to have fuel, to have energy. But I should look into what real hikers do, because I found, even though I just do city hiking and urban hiking generally, it's surprising how applicable it can be. When I watch hiker channels on YouTube, it's kind of neat how often I can apply the stuff they're doing to what I'm doing, because we're doing the same thing. It's just that I'm walking on easier terrain with less baggage and with an ability to refuel at convenience stores and fully bail out at any time. But fundamentally, we're just walking around, So I wonder, do hikers generally... Oh, that's unexpected. Man, thank God for these arrows. So yeah, I'm just going away from the shoreline a bit, and to the right seems like the logical way to keep going, but there's probably just nothing there. Either it's just total private property, or more likely it's just that the shoreline with all these big ash black charcoal rocks is just like impassable at this point. So yeah, the arrow is saying go left, and there's a ribbon a little down the road confirming. And I love how this is set up, thank God. Yeah, because if I just made up this plan on my own, I mean, I wouldn't have. Because I've learned through, like the Toronto shoreline, or even Japan, like in Chiba or whatever, you cannot walk along shorelines. In the modern world, they're just too developed. There's just some crazy thing is going to happen. A big factory is going to happen or something. I wouldn't try to do this on my own, but the fact that somebody else already set this up ahead of time with all the little arrows and the indicators is fucking key. Or even this, as I walk along, there's like a little path in the woods that's like, hey, what about that? Where's that go? But further down the street is another ribbon that's like, no, whatever that is, it's not going to take you anywhere you want to go. Follow the ribbon. It's so good. But yeah, I'm thinking maybe taking it lighter. A lighter approach is a good idea, because I left the house and I was walking the 20 minutes to the bus stop, and I started feeling a little queasy and a little weird, a little heavy in the gut. But I couldn't quite identify quite what it was. But then as I got closer to the bus stop, it was clear. It's like, uh-oh, I need to use the washroom real bad. And luckily there was a public washroom near there. And I stopped in and it's just full on diarrhea, like bad diarrhea. And I don't know if it's just coincidence or if this is a holdover from how I was sick last week. Maybe this is the tail end of that. But luckily it was a deserted washroom. No one else was anywhere around, so I took the time I needed to clear out the system. But then I went to the bus stop and I had to do, it's kind of cool, the bus stops, they have these LCD screens to tell you which bus is coming and stuff. But I think they're supposed to be able to work as a touch screen, but I've tried a couple and the touching never works. Like there's a little language option and stuff. But I've had no luck actually being able to activate these things. So I had to use Google Translate on the LCD screen, but I only had to use it once. I just needed to find out which number was time left. Because there's a time left and right next to it is the zone that the bus is in. So I figured out which one was time left, how long till the next bus. And it was like 20 minutes, it was a little time. But then, this is where I was like, maybe I should, put this off another day, is I felt the rumbling again. I was like, oh no. So I went back around the corner, back to the bathroom, round 2, much smaller round, but round 2 of diarrhea. And I was like, man, that is not good at all, that happened back to back. Like, should I just not do this? But then I was thinking, that's where this is a great thing, that this is not a big deal. I'd been finding washrooms pretty consistently nearer Seogwipo. And yeah, unfortunately today it's been different. I literally haven't found a single one. But I didn't know that yet. And I was like, there'll probably be washrooms. And yeah, this it's gone from an epic journey to like a trivially easy journey. It's going to take time. It's going to take me a while to make it all the way around if I in fact do make it the whole way. But there's nothing tough about it. It's just a matter of time. One bus, just literally one bus, that'll take me along the whole route, right back to wherever I need to go. Amazing. Oh man, today is definitely not overcast. It's just getting hotter and hotter. What time is it anyway? Yeah, I didn't even get started especially early today. Yeah, it's 4:45, but man, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like high fucking noon. I was, dragging my feet a little bit, because what's the point of being out in high noon? And then, get up, make some food, walk the 20 minutes to the bus, wait the 20 minutes for the bus. It was like 3 o'clock before I got started on this journey. This music is from a cafe. Maybe that's the idea. Maybe I'm supposed to stop in at places like this. I haven't drank any coffee or anything because I've been concerned about the lack of washrooms. Maybe this is what I should do. I should just stop in here, get a coffee, and use their washroom. Perhaps I will. But anyway, just to wrap this up, I didn't recognize that at first. I was like, is that what I think it is? And it is indeed. It is that song. Oh, that reminds me of the McDonald's. I thought Burger King had the silliest song where it had, this is a Burger King town. It's what a burger should be. Actually, you know what? I'll just keep going. But I'll keep this in mind, that I guess there are cafes along the way. If worse comes to worse, I can use the cafes as a stopping point. But yeah, miraculously, I don't actually need the washroom, really. But yeah, maybe that's the idea. But anyway, yeah, Burger King has this song. This is a Burger King town, is what a burger should be. McDonald's, the song they have, it's to the tune of Happy Birthday. Which, isn't that the song that there was some kind of bogus copyright claim on Happy Birthday for years? That someone claimed they had the copyright for that? So people would sing different weird birthday songs in movies and stuff. And then I think that got overturned. But anyway, McDonald's has a song to the tune of Happy Birthday that's like, good morning to you, good morning to you, and here's your fucking breakfast, good morning to you. Something along those lines, which they always play despite the fact that it's like 10:30 at night when I'm there. Anyway, that song's fucking lame too. Fast food songs suck in Korea. But anyway, waited for the bus. There's a bunch of other buses there that most other people got on, so my bus wasn't that busy. Tapped my little card. I got like $40 still on it, so that's nice. Went and sat down, and I mean, I know 6 kilometers is not far, but it feels far when you walked it on foot. You know, that was my whole afternoon getting there. And I was amazed on the bus. I couldn't get my little blue dot to pop up. Oh yeah, after I figured out the one bus, by the way, I was like, all right, thank you, Naver Maps. I guess I'm back to Google Maps. I don't think I need you anymore. I kept it on the phone. So if worse comes to worse, if I do somehow need a more complicated bus route, if I can find some Wi-Fi, it's good to have. But I don't think I'm gonna need it for this journey. I only need to know that one bus line. And that's it. And because that highway runs all the way around the island, perpendicular to the shore, I'll never not be able to find it. It's fucking wonderful. But I wanted to make sure I got off at the right spot, so my little blue dot wasn't popping up. And just in the time it took for me to reboot my phone and then get the dot to appear, I was halfway there. I was like, shit. In this case, it really was a $1.50 bus ride. It's like nothing. It's so quick. But I guess that's why people don't walk around all the time. That's why people aren't pedestrians, is because it is so much faster. I mean, there's so many points in my life that I just like don't have a car. You know, it was so weird in Japan to be in the guy from the Kensokai, is that what they were called? The Buddhist religious guy. Being in his car was like, whoa, I'm in a car in Japan. What a weird feeling. Or the guy who gave me a ride home from Bukhansan in Seoul, or a ride to the metro. It's like, whoa, I'm in a car in Seoul. You know, like I could spend months in these places and never be in a car. That's how it felt here. It's like, man, like to get back to the point I was at would take me several hours, a couple hours of walking. Even if I didn't dawdle around and go along the shoreline, even if I just walked straight there. But I got there in a bus like magic, so fucking fast. And it made me realize that this is just way by far the best way to do this plan. All of that other stuff was nonsense. You know, walking the whole way, setting up hotels. Like, why the fuck would I set up hotels along the route? That would be such a pain in the ass. That would be so annoying to have to get to the next hotel and go find it and go check in every time, when I can just be at my one hotel in Seogwipo. And like the longest that bus ride is ever going to take. You know, maybe when I get all the way up to Jeju City, it might take 90 minutes, you know. Until then, it's always going to be a tiny, quick, little, easy, single route bus line that just goes in a straight line around the island with no turns and no transfers and nothing that can even go wrong, because that stop 20 minutes from my hotel is where it ends. It's like, fuck, how perfect could this be? If you did decide you want to do this thing, this walking around the outside of the island thing, definitely just pick a cheap hotel in either city and you're fucking golden. Just take the bus. It's so easy. Trivially easy is the word that keeps coming back to me. Barely an inconvenience. But yeah, I think that's doubly important because, yeah, it turns out I've been okay. If I find a washroom, I won't walk past it, but luckily things have settled down. I feel okay. But the fact that even if I did realize like, oh no, I'm still sick or whatever, or I can't do this, hop on the bus, man. Just hop on the bus and it's all over. You can just head on out. And it's nice too because like yesterday, well, in both cases, going either direction, you know, the reason I only went about 6 kilometers is because that's when my internal radar started pinging me of like, hey, you know, you actually got to walk back as well. Probably time to start wrapping this bad boy up. Time to turn around. You know, the sun's going down. It's so neat now to just have no worries today that I don't even know where I'm at right now. I don't know. Who the fuck cares? Just go. Just go, go. I don't need to look at the map. I don't need to look at the dot. I'm following the little arrows. And I can just go as far as I want. And now realizing, like, not only can I take the bus back, the bus ride back is going to be so fast that I won't really even have time to get my head on straight, you know? And I don't know, we'll see. Pretty wonderful though. Now I can see like that was another one of these up through the city. Although in this case, sometimes up through the city means actually up through the city with actual traffic and connecting to the highway and stuff. Though even the highway, quote unquote, it's not very wide. It has a sidewalk. It's not like a highway. But in this case, it was just like through some little farmland and stuff. That cafe with, what is that song even called? I Can't Help Falling in Love with You. Is that what it's called? I don't know. One of those songs that's so famous, suddenly I'm realizing I don't actually know what it is. It's just always been playing throughout my life. Who sang that originally? What's it titled? What year did it come out? I don't know. I don't know any of those things. But yeah, that's the only thing I passed. So that was actually, that's just nice in its own right. And now I can see the water again, back to the shoreline. Yeah, and that's kind of a good thing too, to put together that piece of the puzzle. Like, yeah, maybe there's not public washrooms a lot as you get farther and farther. But there are little cafes. Those cannot be stopped. South Korea is the land of coffee. I've never seen a place with more coffee shops. From Seoul to Jecheon to Busan, and now on Jeju, it's still true. It's a lot less on Jeju, and there's certainly a lot less geared toward the English person. But they're still here. They still love their coffee, goddammit. So, little cafes, if nothing else, those will for sure be here. But all right, there's the update, man. There's what I learned about this journey and how incredibly accessible it is. And yeah, I don't see any reason not to do it. I have a feeling I'm going to walk around in pieces, in segments, this whole freaking island. And it even is like cool. It just felt cool getting off the bus. And it took a sec to orient myself and be like, okay, because it's just the highway stuff, that's a little harder to recognize things. But then as I got to the bridge, I'm like, there we go. Now I recognize this. I distinctly remember being here before. And now we're just carrying on, It feels like one contiguous journey, even though it is not. It's just fucking cool. But all right, I'm just going to walk now. Now that I have zero fear about stranding myself way off deep into random Jeju Island, let's just see how far I get. Let's see what happens. I'm just walking through like a little, I have to duck down. Oh, there's a little snake. Hey, snakey. It's way smaller than the one I saw in Busan. It's only my second ever snake. But I'm walking through this little like tunnel, this little thing of trees. But every once in a while, there's a break and I can see the ocean. Very nice. But anyway, I finally found a washroom. There's like a, like a breakwater thing going out into the water, and they're filming something out there. They had like one of those cameras on a big crane. So there's a bunch of people around filming stuff, but luckily there was a washroom there, which I used. I could have held on, but it certainly doesn't hurt. Especially given my gastrointestinal distress at the start of this journey. I'd rather just be on the safe side, so that feels better. Generally, too, I'd say, I bump into people here and again on these trails. I'd say people generally in South Korea, I think, are more, I noticed that thing in Japan where sometimes people just don't acknowledge you. They just walk right by. That does happen here sometimes, too, particularly older men. I think that's their place. That is their place, to just be stoic. But in general, in South Korea, people are more smile, nod, say hello. More of the standard thing than in Japan, which is nice. Here's a little, like a pog or whatever, of Speedy Gonzales. That's unexpected. Man, though, there's definitely no question I'll have to bail out of here when it gets dark. This stuff is all super well signposted, but there's none of that moon tan road stuff, that's for sure. Once this place gets dark, it's going to be pitch black. But like I was saying, it's super easy from pretty much anywhere to get to the bus route. Just go away from the shore till you get to the highway. And it's a good thing too, because like I was saying, how I wasn't paying attention to the blue dot on my Google Maps. But it looks like I wouldn't have been able to anyway, because I did just pull it out, and I was having a hard time seeing anything. And I was like, is it because it's so sunny? Is it because I'm on dark mode? I mean, that's been a little bit of a trouble before, that dark mode plus a sunny day. You know, obviously that's not what dark mode is for. It's for the opposite. So I rebooted into light mode, and then I was like, oh, that's why I couldn't make out anything. My map is just not there. It's just gone. Like, what the fuck happened there? And I tried rebooting a couple times, and I have no idea. For some reason, North America and South America are there. This whole half of the world is gone. I'm like, all right, whatever, Google Maps. I'm sure I'll find some Wi-Fi later and figure this out. But yeah, that's how easy this is I don't even care. It's like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. When I'm ready to bail out, I'll just bail out. Go up to the highway. Oh, man. Again, I run into this problem all the time, but how do I describe this? It's just so pretty. Now I'm just walking along like a cliffside, but it's a very small cliff. It's not high enough up to frighten me, even as a scaredy cat of heights. And there's just the rocks and the crashing waves. And at this point, I keep spotting new islands as I go, but at this point, I can see islands behind me. But ahead of me, just ocean. Just infinite ocean. Oh, there's like a freighter ship way in the distance, spewing some black smoke, but I can hardly see it. I guess one thing that's nice about this shoreline too are those tetrapods. I have seen them in South Korea. They definitely do exist, but they're these, you know, it's like when you play jacks as a kid. It's like giant concrete jacks, and they're just everywhere on the shorelines in Japan. And apparently they are there to stop erosion, though I've seen other people claim that the cure is worse than the disease, because they really are everywhere. I have no idea. But there's none of that here. This is just raw shoreline, and I guess maybe it's because there is no there is no sand to erode around here. It's a volcanic island. It's just rocks. But yeah, there's even now in this path I'm on now, it's got the nature rug that I see all over South Korea. This like beige woven rug thing that they put on hiking paths all throughout the country. Yeah, I could walk this in shoes, no fucking problem. But yeah, I like having my boots. I suppose too, like that snake that went by earlier. I don't know how dangerous the snakes are, but there's warning signs occasionally, so they must be potentially dangerous. So hey, it's probably good to have some big ass boots. Try to bite this shit, snake, I dare you. I take that back, I don't dare you. Don't, please don't. I don't want to tempt fate. I'm willing to say some stupid stuff on this podcast, but I take that one back. Don't bite me, snake. All right, what time is it? Oh, only a little after 6. Yeah, it is actually pretty early. Whereas kind of in the middle of like, I just got through an area that was like really rocky cliff sides, but passed a lot of other tourists up there. It was, you know, super picturesque views of the rocky cliffside. Like you go through the little canopy, and then it would break out into these cliffs. Pretty fucking beautiful. But it passed into more of a normal city area. Like there's a Paris baguette that are all over the place in South Korea. And it connects to what I think is the highway road. If not, it's near here. So yeah, I was thinking like, yeah, you know, I could keep pushing. I could keep going. The sun's on its way down, but I definitely do have some sun ahead of me. I'm a little wiped, but I'm also not like exhausted. But I guess I'm thinking maybe when I get to these more city-like areas, it might be a good place to stop, just because I don't know when the next one is coming. You know, like the area I was at before, again, I could have bailed out there. I'm sure it would have been fine. I could have made it to the highway, but it would be a little tricky. Where here, it's super easy to get up to the highway. So this time of day, it's probably not a good idea to head back to the more rugged parts. And maybe I can find some Wi-Fi and figure out where I actually am. But especially, I love when there's these little like moments. The universe just kind of gives you a little indicator that it's like, yeah, this is a good place to stop. This is a good landmark. because I see just in front of me an Idea Coffee, which that's the chain that I never really went to until I got to Jecheon, and then I realized it's my favorite because they have these little touch screens in English and they take a card, and it's just a nice coffee chain in general, but so good if you're a foreign traveler. Idea, the best, my fave. And the one Idea location in Seogwipo is unfortunately not there anymore. I had the unfortunate job of updating Google Maps with this business no longer exists. But there were other Ideas around the island, but I just kind of, I had this idea that could be an excuse to go explore. I could just go to the Ideas, but then I came up with this much better idea of walking along the coast instead. And then I forgot about the additional Idea coffees, but there it is. I finally made it to one. I walked to an Idea coffee, so if that's not a good reason to fucking call it a day, I don't know what is. Okay, I'm at the Jeju Namwon-Soesokkak seawater swimming pool. That's interesting. Uses clean magma seawater pumped up from 60 meters below the ground. Jeju seawater, which has been filtered slowly through layers of basaltic rock for thousands of years, is rich in healthy minerals and nutrients, and its temperature is maintained at 16 to 17 degrees. Wow, it's like those mineral pools and taps, mineral streams, whatever they're called in the mountains, but it's just the ocean, just the seawater. Anyway, so that's where I am. That's cool. Still, for some reason, don't have a map. My map disappeared, but I can use that to figure out where I was. Namwon-Soesokkak, Namwon-Soesokkak. Ah, nice. And I connected to the Jeju free Wi-Fi. So yeah, I'm on Jeju Olle 5 trail. Namwon-Soesokkak, just like that river. A little ahead is Mr. Crab Restaurant, but also Loving Hut. What the hell does Loving Hut sell? Love the spicy stew. Yeah, I guess it's just like traditional Korean type food. Loving Hut. So yeah, that's actually pretty good. Now when I'm looking at my dot on the map, damn, yeah, if I'm looking at Seogwipo, I'm like a third of the way already to the, to like the tip of the eastern coast. Not bad. There's a major street that I'm at. This connects to a major highway, Highway 1118. Man, it's nice having an actual internet connection. Holy shit, you can click on stuff and it actually fucking works. That's remarkable. Yeah, you can click on a bus stop, Namwon Port Entrance, and it says which buses stop there. And guess which one's top of the list? 201, baby. 13 minutes. Set a little fucking notification so I can begin here again tomorrow. Yeah, especially because it's right by that major highway. That seems like an extra good area to stop. Man, yeah, this plan is not only working out, it's going to take a lot less time than I thought, actually. And so far, yeah, pretty fucking delightful. Literally the only trouble is, I could go for a few more washrooms. That wouldn't hurt. That's it, though, other than that. Oh, and in fact, here's a little sign for Jeju Olle Route 5. And I'm heading toward Route 4. But, yeah, I was saying, it's only 6 o'clock or whatever, but they've got this little list of safety information, which, I mean, mostly I think, probably everything's fine. This is an extremely easy route. But they do say, try to finish walking by 5 o'clock in the winter. Good advice. But then they say 6 o'clock in the summer. And again, I'm sure I could keep going. There's going to be sun for a while, but fuck it, dude. If I'm looking for reasons to stop, I mean, hey, it's on the sign. The sign said to stop. I got an Idea coffee right here. Idea is the real reason to stop. But anyway, super successful. I would call that an incredibly successful first official day. If those other days were just to, test this out, then no fucking complaints. This is going to happen for sure. I'm going to try to, I already had the pre-downloaded map, but let me try this again, although it's only a tiny 10 meg download that says it may not include all the stuff. So who knows, man? maybe Jeju's just, maybe this map just doesn't exist. But even if that's the case, no biggie. Maybe I'll check these out, because specifically, I just realized I'm getting Wi-Fi from Jeju Olle Information Center. But anyway, 10 thumbs up. Thank you for listening. Continue to join me for, I'm just going to keep walking around the coast and going like, fuck yes, look how nice this is. But if you think that's enjoyable in any way, I got more of that coming, so please stay tuned. All right, a little finish off bit. Waiting for the bus. Man, it was fucking delightful to go to Idea and use the little touch screen. And I got, what was it even called? I don't know. Some kind of weird latte flavor that I don't even remember what it was now, but it was tasty. And got my little extra shot of espresso, and it's just great. It's actually the first coffee shop I've been to on Jeju. There's still got the one Starbucks in Seogwipo saved on my map on my phone, and I just never bothered to go. I just started exploring around, and I was like, oh well, fuck it, that's that. But it was nice to just sit there with a big fucking latte, especially after all that hot weather hiking. Fucking wonderful. Although unfortunately, it looks like I did pass another Idea on the way here, but there's no more along the coast until I get all the way to Jeju City. That was it. So I was hoping I could string together a series of Ideas, but unfortunately not. But still pretty wonderful. And now, I'm at Namwon Harbor Entrance bus stop, just waiting for the bus. Let's see, it looks like it will be 7 minutes. And just thought I'd bring this up because I was saying how the touchscreens didn't work. This one does work. Change the language to English. Can click on the bus, and now there's all the stops, and it's just like, man, this is pretty fucking sweet. So of the 3 or 4 that I've tried, only one of them has worked, but it's awesome when it works. And it's a little after 8 o'clock on a Monday, 20 o'clock, it's 19 degrees Celsius. It's just fucking so cool. This little touchscreen with everything you might need for the big bad bus ride that costs $1.50. Goddamn great, man. I fucking love transit in South Korea, and especially, the subway stuff was my double super fave with all the little coffee machines and stuff. And as I was yammering about, I got to get over that hump with learning a new thing, got to learn the stupid bus and whatever, but it's not actually hard once you learn it. Oh yeah, and here's paper on the walls, all the stops, all the times. Man, it's just nice, man. I love transit in South Korea. It's so just awesome. It's just so effortless and cheap and easy and fun and everywhere. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Where I was on the bus early on, that's why I thought it was the highway to take me back, because I was on the big bad highway, but I'm not even anymore. It at some point leaves the highway and I'm just on a nice quiet street. This street is fucking beautiful. So I thought I would have to hike all the way up to the big busy highway street to go back home, but I don't. I don't even. It deviates. Delightful. And there's random music playing. Why not? Alright, anyway, there we go. Just wanted to finish that off with random stupid details of little things. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time. Hey yo, one more quick addendum. So this is Keith from the present, editing Keith. So I'm back in Canada, I'm editing this episode, and I just wanted to mention, I guess first off I'll mention that I've been a bit busy since I got back. So at first this podcast was weekly, and then I started pumping them out 2 per week. And just because I've had a lot going on, I've gone back to 1 a week, which, I think 1 a week is fine. This is quite an obscure boutique podcast that is very, very long. But because it's so long, between Jeju and then Taiwan and a trip back to Japan, I still have so many episodes. So At 1 a week, it'll take forever to put these out. So we'll see. I'll try to get back to 2 a week, but whatever. 2 a week, 1 a week, nobody fucking gives a shit. But I just thought I'd mention that for the sake of bookkeeping. Also, I just think it's so interesting now to listen back to some of these things and just to know now what's going to happen in the future. Like the trail that I was on in Busan as you go up the coast from Busan, and it had these orange and blue signs everywhere, just like the Olle Trail. Now that I know about the Olle Trail, now I know, oh, that route in Busan, that was a lot more expansive than I realized. Who knows how far that trail goes up the coast? It's just that's how they designate a trail, like a distinct long-term trail in Korea, is these orange and blue signs, at least in Busan and Jeju. So that's something like next time I'm in Busan, I gotta explore that more now that I realize that that's like gonna be a contiguous trail. What is the difference between continuous and contiguous? Sharing a common border, touching the 48 contiguous states. Interesting. Adjacent, adjoining, and juxtaposed. Yeah, so contiguous is probably not actually the term I'm looking for. I mean, I guess the segments of the trail are contiguous, but the trail itself is continuous. Any fucking way. What the fuck am I talking about? But that was neat to listen back and hear myself recognize these orange and blue things, but not to know what they were. And I'm like, I know what those are now. And then on Jeju, I kept bumping into signs for the Olle Trail, different little references to the Olle Trail. That happened a few times, but I had no fucking clue what it was. And listening back, I'm like, now I know what that is. Anyway, that happened in this episode, but this one was not a good one. When I realized that the bus route goes all the way around the outside edge of the island, and I was like, this is so easy. I mean, the highway's right there, the coast is right there. I don't even need a map. How could you ever fuck this up? I'm not even afraid a little. Like, I literally said something like that. Like, no fear whatsoever of missing the bus. It was just like, what could ever go wrong? So dumb. So dumb. Last episode, when I was like a little trepidatious about bus stuff, like, I don't want to just go try to take the bus in the dark because I don't quite, just in case something goes wrong. That was the smart version of me. That's what you do when you're traveling. Be a little careful. Not this bullshit of like, I got it all figured out now. Everything's fine. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that because it's coming up, it won't be too long before I get seriously fucked in the ass by not getting the bus back home to Seogwipo before it shut down for the day. And man, it fucked me. It fucked me so hard. So I just wanted to mention that because I couldn't believe it when I heard myself say that. I'm like, you fucking moron. Where is this coming from? This fucking timid little guy that doesn't want to get on the bus till he knows how it works because he doesn't want to be embarrassed in front of people. That's fine. Be that guy. That guy's the guy that that's the guy. That's okay. It's okay to be a fucking little baby wuss. This unearned fucking confidence, that's what gets you in trouble when you're traveling. So anyway, look forward to that. I got a fucking nighttime adventure coming up with the buses on Jeju. So in the meantime, let's just enjoy these delightful strolls along the coast. And in its own stupid way, getting stranded in the middle of the night is kind of delightful too. Even at the time, I was like, this sucks hard, but I mean, hey, it's a thing that's happening. So anyway, look forward to that. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time for more Circumnavigating Jeju. Adios.